Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Mr. Chairman, if you could go ahead and call the meeting to order.
All right. Welcome to the Clark County Regional Flood Control District Citizens Advisory Committee of September 28, 2020, our online version. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Steve so we can run the meeting from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Good afternoon. We'll start with some quick housekeeping items as we normally do. As we go through the agenda, we request any committee members wishing to make a comment, ask a question, or make a motion that you say your name for the record. We will open the floor for questions after presenting each item. Also, after a motion is made and a vote is called for, each committee member will verbally vote. If the vote is unanimous, that will be noted. If there are any nay votes, then a roll call will be completed to accurately identify the vote for the record. This meeting was properly posted and noticed in accordance with the Declaration of Emergency Directive 6 issued by Governor Sisolak on March 22nd, 2020, and subsequent directives extending Directive 006 until the end of till the Declaration of Emergency is issued. The end of the Declaration of Emergency is issued. The directive suspend the requirement contained in NRS for a physical location to be provided for meetings of public bodies. Pursuant to the directive, a physical location for this meeting has not been provided. There is a live stream of this meeting available at the website posted on the meeting notice. An email address, publiccomment@regionalflood.org, has been provided in the notice of public meeting to allow the public to participate in this meeting. This email address will be monitored during the meeting should any member of the public wish to participate in the final public comment period. Any comments received prior to or during the meeting will be read into the record and will become part of the permanent record. With that, we are going to start with a roll call to verify all the committee members present. If you could make sure that you're not on mute when you respond, and please respond when you hear your name called. We'll start with Chairman Ron Newell.
Here.
You. Vice Chair Bill Starmer.
Present.
James House.
Here.
Jeff Lastofka.
Present.
Ed Euling. Ed Euling. Larry Schultz.
Present.
Herschel Desai.
Present.
Jim Giordano.
Present.
Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson. Norm Ashford. I'll note for the record that he is logged into the meeting, but we have not been able to establish communication with Norm at the moment. And Karina Berrigan.
Present.
So I show 8 members present, and we do have a quorum. We begin with the agenda. Item number 1 is comments by the general public. As noticed on the agenda posting, comments by the general public regarding items on this agenda were to be posted to public comment at regionalflood.org. Tammy, could you verify if we've received any comments and read those into the record, please?
Mr. Chair, Tammy McMahon, for the record, there are no public comments.
Tammy. Item 2 is action to approve the agenda with the deletion of any items. Mr. Chair, the agenda is in order for approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County. I've reviewed the agenda in its entirety and I consider it to be proper for proceeding with this meeting. So I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you, Larry. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is action to approve the minutes of the August 31, 2020 meeting. The meeting minutes are in order for approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County, and I move that we accept the minutes as presented. I did review the minutes in detail, and they appear to reflect exactly what we discussed in our last meeting.
Thank you, Larry. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Did I hear Norm Ashford come on the line? Okay. Item number 4. Oh, there you are. Hey, Norm. Okay, thank you. Item number 4 is action to accept the financial reports. Mr. Chair, the report is in your backup. We did check the state website today. Actually, I checked it right before this meeting, and they have yet to post the July receipts. So there's nothing to report to the committee in terms of sales tax. I'm happy to answer any other questions if there are any. If none, staff would recommend you accept the report. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell, accept the report.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor to approve from Ron Newell. Although any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item number 5 is action to adopt amendments to the 10-year construction program. Mr. Chair, these are amendments to the 10-year construction program for fiscal impacts that occur later in the agenda. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas. I move to approve
Thank you.
item number 3 as presented, or item number 5, I'm sorry.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starmer. Any discussion on the motion?
Herschel Desai, City of Henderson. I would like to abstain on this one, particularly related to the item for Las Vegas Wash Stewart, Las Vegas Wash to Lamb. It's included in this proposed amendment. And because we are involved in that job, so I'd like to abstain from voting on this particular item.
Okay, thank you, Herschel. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously with 1 abstention. Item number 6 is to receive the quarterly project status report supporting period May 2020 through July 2020. Mr. Chair, the report is in your backup. Also emailed out today was the summary that was requested by the CAC that just summarizes all of the projects in the project status report. That summary will be included in the minutes to this meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any, but this is just to receive report. There's no action required on this item.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County, and I do have some questions if I can.
Okay, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, so if I go to page 3 for City of Las Vegas, I see there's several projects, for instance, LAS 16Q18, LAS 25C20, and LAS 29F20. And all these projects that I just mentioned, the first one shows a 116% completion, and it also shows a January of 2020 completion date. And let's see, this is September, so that date's come and gone. And the other two don't have any completion dates. But if you also go on to the page that's City of North Las Vegas, there are also 2 more projects that are identified that have 0% complete, no estimated completion date, as well as if you go to the Clark County page, there's 1 project identified in the same situation. I just like to understand why there are no estimated completion dates on 0 projects, and also for the one that's 116%, and it shows a January 16th completion. I'd like to understand that. What else is on that one? That's the Rancho Road System, Elkhorn, Grand Canyon to Wallapai project. What's left to be done on that? And with the others, why isn't there an estimated completion?
So I'll let Todd jump in if I go astray, but as I believe for the Rancho Road, Elkhorn, Grand Canyon to Walpi, that project has completed construction. You're probably seeing 116% completion because they might have gone over the contract time for that project. But I believe it did finish back in January. So they're essentially all the construction's done. I think they need to wrap up the contract and close it out. Usually when we get a project that's been done for a few months, we'll drop it off of this list, even if it's not closed out, but it looks like this one hasn't been dropped off yet. But generally when you see a time frame for construction that's over 100%, that means they went beyond the contract time, which means they either will be awarded additional days from the entity if they can agree that those days were justified for some reason, or they might have to pay liquidated damages, depending on what's happening with the contract. The ones that are 0% and don't have dates generally are new projects. For example, the LAS 25C20, that project was just opened, so they're still scoping a contract with the design engineer, and so they just haven't established a schedule yet. It's just too new to put dates in, and so those dates will be coming. They'll be forthcoming on a later report.
Steve, if I could, Steve, this is again Larry Schultz, Clark County. If I may interrupt, may I suggest that for future reports, when a contract is awarded, by definition, the contract should have a performance schedule in it, and it should have a date there already. And barring any changes, at least the contract date should be shown as the estimated completion date.
Well, the contract that we have with the entity is a funding contract. And so the dates that are in the actual contract don't have any correlation to the actual design. And so the status that you see here is actually an estimate, usually based on the entities, the personnel at the entities estimate on when they feel that design is going to be completed and what percentage it's completed at. And so so we can't really do that, what you said.
Okay, I just was trying to be logical, but I get what you're saying.
Kind of apples to oranges.
I understand.
Were there any other specific projects you wanted to talk about, or
no? Is the criteria or the basis you just shared true for all the other zero status completion projects? Is that the same logic there?
It is. In North Las Vegas, that project, the Hollywood Systems Centennial Parkway to Speedway 2, again, that's brand new. It was just funded. So we should be able to put a completion date in there. We should have the contract days, but I don't think it was issued a notice to proceed yet. So until we get a notice to proceed, we can't really put an estimated completion date in. So there's going to be a few like that every report that comes out they're either brand new and there's just not enough information yet to put the dates in.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions?
So with that, if there are no, I'm sorry.
There's no action required on this item. It was just to receive a report, so we don't need a motion.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll move on to item 7, which is receive a report on amendments to the Regional Flood Control District Policies and Procedures Manual 2020 Annual Review and Update. As we mentioned at our last CAC meeting, we're in the process of doing our annual review of our Policies and Procedures Manual. We did request the entities to give us comments if they had any by September 9th, I think was the date. And we did not receive any comments from the entities. We are looking to do a few changes, most of which are just minor cleanup type language. But we are considering one change that is kind of substantial, and that is to our local drainage program. Right now, there's no requirement or no limit on how many local drainage projects each entity can have active at one time. One of the problems we've been experiencing is when we approve a local drainage project, we tie up the construction funding at that time. And so the construction funding is held until the project's designed and then it goes out and is constructed. And so that, because some of these projects are taking 1 or 2 or 3 years to design, for one reason or another, that's tying up that construction funding. So what we're gonna request is to limit each entity to only one local drainage program project open at a time. And once that local drainage project has been awarded for construction, then they can apply for another local drainage project the following April. And so we are putting the language together for that right now, and we'll be bringing that change along with these other minor changes back to this committee and also the technical advisory committee and the board in an upcoming board cycle. So with that, that concludes my report, and there's no action required on this item as well, unless there's any questions. Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to item 8, which is action to approve the interlocal contract for design for Blue Diamond Railroad Channel, Clark County. This is a new design interlocal being requested by the county with a total interlocal contract value of $1,637,520. There are sufficient funds for this design. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell approve action item number 8.
There's a motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Andrew. Item 9 is Duck Creek Haven Street Storm Drain, Clark County. Item A is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for construction to decrease funding. Item B is to receive a report on the award of bid for construction. The first item, 9A, is a supplement to reduce funding as a result of the favorable bids. This supplement reduces the funding by $1,368,417. Item 9B is a report on the award of bid. On July 20th, 2020, 13 bids were received, ranging with the recommended best bid to William Charles Inc. in the amount of $3,037,061.25, which is about 26% below the engineer's estimate presented to the board of directors on April 9th, 2020. Staff recommends approval of item 9A. No actions required on item 9B. It's just to receive a report. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
This
Jim
is-
Giordano, has the district used this contractor before? William Charles Inc.?
Who's that speaking? Jim? Is that Jim Giordano?
Yes, sir.
We have, they're actually Meadow Valley. They were either purchased or changed their name, but we've used them quite a bit.
Okay, I didn't recognize the name.
Yeah. Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County. I make a motion to approve item 9A as presented by staff.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval of item 9A by Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 10 is action to approve the third supplemental interlocal contract for design to increase funding and add a line item for entity design labor costs for the Jim McGoy Detention Basin Collection and Outfall, Clark County. Mr. Chair, this is a supplement with a fiscal impact of $1,050,000, the bulk of which is going into the right-of-way line item. They are needing to purchase some right-of-way, mostly for the outfall pipe coming out of the detention basin, which passes through private property. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Jeff Listowka, Boulder City, move to approve item 10.
Ron Newell move for approval.
Oops, too late, Ron. We got a motion for approval from Jeff Lefapka. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay.
Steve?
Yes, did someone say? Was there a comment?
Steve, I was offline on number 9. What happened?
Number 9 was approved. There was a motion to approve by Larry Schultz, and it was approved unanimously. We're now on.
I would have voted yes. I would have voted yes. So, okay, thank you.
Okay. So item 10, we just voted. So let's do another vote. So all those in favor, there's a motion on the floor to approve item 10 by Jeff Lefapka. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carried unanimously. Item 11 is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for design to increase funding for Las Vegas Wash Stewart, Las Vegas Wash to Lamb Blvd, City of Las Vegas. This is a supplement with a fiscal impact of $656,324. This funding is needed to cover the negotiated design costs with the consultant and then to pay for additional design labor costs. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, move to approve item number 11.
There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Farmer.
Hey, Steve, this is Harshal Desai. As mentioned earlier, I would like to abstain from this particular item.
Okay, thank you, Harshal. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously with one abstention. And 12 is comments by the general public. As noticed on the agenda posting, comments by the general public regarding any issue related to the Regional Flood Control District were to be posted at public comment at regionalflood.org. Tammy, could you verify if any comments were received? And if so, read those into the record.
Mr. Chair, Tammy McMahon for the record, and there is a comment. This comment is from Kara John, B2B Marketing Specialist, and I'll read the comment. Hi, due to COVID-19 and concern for the safety of our country, peoples, to compensate your loss, we make you to access business leads at discount price. Happy to announce that we have Southern Nevada Home Builders Association, SNHBA email list available now. The list includes verified email address, phone number, first name, last name, title, company, website, address, etc. in an Excel sheet. Would you like to purchase this list? If yes, I am happy to share counts and cost details. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks and have a good day. That's the end of the comment.
Thanks, Tammy. And that is the end of our posted agenda. Unless there's any comments or questions, Mr. Chair, we can adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, this is Larry Schultz, Clark County. Just on that last comment, I know there's no requirement to discuss it, but I somehow thought it was odd that we had a commercial activity included in the agenda because it sounded like a sales pitch.
I'll agree with that, but it was a public comment that was received through the posted agenda email address, and so we were required to read it. But you're right, it didn't really pertain to anything regarding regional flood.
Yeah, very different than running a company. Okay, thank you.
So, Ron, you want to go ahead and adjourn the meeting?
Do I want to what?
Adjourn the meeting?
Oh, sure. First of all, everybody be safe, and I'll have another video conferencing next month, and adjourn the meeting at 3:30. Or no, I'm sorry, 3:27.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for signing.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Unanimous.